All right, welcome in everybody.
Hello, how we doing? Can you just confirm for me that we're live, please, Fritz?
Absolutely,
We
we are
speak now.
there.
Oh, okay, right. Well, hello everybody. We're here to cook some One Piece theories and make brains weary. It's TLA with a few absolutely amazing guests, as always. Going to be chill, going to be cooking up, and we'll quickly run through the intros. You already know I'm Dendan Kushi, first mate of the last arc, and I'm going to be hosting for the majority of it. We got thankfully Fritz who's streaming for us today, and I'll let him bring himself in, and then we'll move on from there.
This is Fritz the Ditch, ship ride of the last arc. Here having smooth sailing and just a wonderful time with everybody. So I'm glad to be
Yeah,
here.
nice,
Absolutely.
yeah, nice positivity. We like it. We like it. Kube, next member of TLA. Let's hear it.
What's up, guys? As you know, Kube the Red Sea, historian of the Black Arc, of the last arc. Sorry for that.
Oh, damn.
Whoa,
I'm on my Blackbeard pirate agenda, so the word
the
black is
agenda's
stuck in
leaking
my
through.
brain.
Yeah.
I was thinking entirely different things. My bad.
So like,
No, me
yeah,
too. I was
Blackbeard
me
pirate.
too.
So yeah, and honestly, I'll say this: I'm very excited because, as a lot of people know, I speak a lot to Kuzo and Marv behind the scenes, so it's good to be able to spit on stream and also to get the legendary Elson himself. So let's get this stream started. I'm excited.
Okie dokie, Elson, do you want to throw yourself in that case?
I've been part of this community for a long time. It's a great pleasure to be here with you guys. Just spit. Yeah, I guess you could call me one of the readers of the last arc, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. He's raided the tomb a few times. Whoa. Okay, Kuso, bring us in with your beautiful music.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Kusoland from New Zealand, land of the future. Started YouTube theories recently, doing a bit of One Piece. That's about it, really. I've got some new videos
For
coming
those,
up. Yeah, what's up?
sorry, sorry, I was going to say for those who don't know, New Zealand is it's a country, it's a real place. You didn't make that up.
I
We're
heard
the
it.
Wart of Australia.
I heard it was fake. I heard it was a bunch of actors. Well, we
Yeah,
won't
It's fake
we
news. Yeah.
won't get into that
I
though.
mean, there's a couple thousand of us,
Where are the
there's a decent
children?
population.
It's like Punk Hazard. They're hiding, bro. Anyway.
We keep them underground
Okay. Okay.
in
To
the
be
hobbit
honest,
holes.
that's where the Hobbit was filmed, right? Like, so
Hmm.
nice one. I like where that was going. Ma, Hans to bitte bring yourself in, please.
Ja,
Bitte.
ja, sehr gerne. Yeah, it's me, your boy, M4rth, and I'm just gonna chill out here today, listen to what everyone says, maybe come up with some own ideas, and uh, I won't lie to you guys. I'm actually from Old Zealand. Yeah, we are still involved with New Zealand. So
Hmm.
Kuso is like an enemy for me. So
Oh,
if I
stop.
Yeah.
yeah, so apparently, like we will have some fucking spitting later on. Maybe not. I don't know.
That's as the thumbnail
Yeah.
suggests.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
God. I knew someone's going to bring that up.
Early.
also, I do like to address something to everyone who is on the chat. For those who see Kuzoland's name, yes, it's a Celestial Dragon name, but we're very open-minded. We let everyone speak in TLA.
Okay, so before we
I
just get straight
appreciate
into
it,
the
though.
slander of each other, we'll try talk about One Piece for a quick sec. I think we should, if it's cool with everyone else, we should go straight in with the beautiful Tated Math's new video because it's a big one and there's a lot going on there. So, Math, for those who haven't seen, would you like to give a quick? I'm not sure if you can recap it in 60 seconds, but you can have a go if you want.
Oh, that's impossible. Okay, I'll try. So yeah, in the
Yeah.
video, I'm trying to tackle many things like the Will of D, Luffy's dream, what the One Piece is, what the whole manga actually is about, like ring dice. I try to address so many things and spin them together, so it makes sense. I don't know people who saw it, who I know said they liked it, so I guess people might like it. I don't know. Just go watch it. It's
Yeah,
just
definitely.
1 hour 20 something. Just go for it. I mean, just get a hot chocolate or a beer or whatever. Watch the
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, definitely check it out. We'll drop links in the descript and we'll drop links in the chat as we go.
Appreciate it.
That's definitely one of the spicier ones out there. So, before we go straight into it, though, I do want to talk about basically the last chapter because when we've gone a few topics down, I'll connect it into some of the ideas you were talking about in your video as well. So, right. So, just to start us off, Kube, talk to us about 1109 and what is going on there. Some wild stuff.
Well, first of all, the cover story is so fire because we finally know what happened to Onigashima. Which I'll first say it's good to get a Wano cover story because I always feel like if we're at one point we're gonna get Yamato, it's Udo's cover story. But other than the chapter, it's a fire chapter. We're seeing Luffy, well, murking Kizaru and Saturn. Weird enough, Saturn doesn't get affected to the point that Saturn has to call backup. And yes, he called them, the other four. Dude, that was a fire chapter. I don't know for you guys, but that last panel, what did you guys think of the last panel? Just that last panel.
It was
Not
a
all
game
at once.
changer. Yeah,
Oh.
it was an absolute game changer, right? Like before, I was like, yeah, we're gonna Elbaf. Yeah, you know, the Giants are gonna be awesome and they're gonna kick some ass. But now that there's all five of them, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like Oda's just kind of thrown everything at the kitchen sink, and we actually have no idea what's gonna happen next. And I'm all here for it. It's super exciting.
Yeah, it's quite refreshing, like having such a dramatic. Like the Saturn thing was pretty dramatic. We thought with the summoning circle, no one expected that really, and then boom, now we've got five all flying in from the sky like Death Eaters. So yeah, very interesting.
I mean, if you look at it, actually, now that I'm looking at it again, it kind of looks like Saturn is a flea sitting on a head, and the Haki lightning is just hair.
That's a bit, yeah. That's wild, bro.
Is that what you're going to be asking in the barbers next time you go in? Just showing them a
Yeah,
panel and being like, "Yeah, do me
exactly
one of
it.
this, bro."
Can you please watch out for Saturns on my head, please? Remove them all.
Absolutely.
I did.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I'm curious. Just out of interest, do we think that we're going to go straight into it with the next chapter? Do we think like Elson, for example? Do we think that next chapter we're going to be seeing the Gorosei pop out and just start kicking ass, or do we think we're going to be seeing more cutaways and stuff?
I hope so. It does. It does look like it might do, but I could also see more exposition on some of these other panels, like the dragon one. Maybe we get more on that. I know others have some theories around other things, and those things might take place in the next chapter. It does feel like it would be too quick to transition straight from the black smoke or lightning straight into the Gorosei entering, but it would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, as I said, it's not expected. So the fact that we've now got five there just out of nowhere in the space of one panel, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he slowed it down. But as I say, it's unexpected, so it's speeding up as well. It's very hard, personally. I think very hard to predict what's gonna happen next chapter.
They need to
for
go
sure.
as slow as possible and as informative as possible. Just make it as long as it can take, man.
Yes, sir.
Because
Agreed.
otherwise, people are going to be really upset in the near future.
So I do
You're reading
think
the
that
right
it's going to
story.
be a little bit explosive for sure in the next chapter, at least. And that's just
Yeah.
because Oda's already blueballed us with, because we thought that this chapter was going to be when he was going to be revealing some of the stuff, right? And he didn't. And he's kind of delaying it. So I think if he delays it again, then I think it's going to cause the story to feel a bit odd. So I'm not saying that we're going to get the answer next chapter, but what I do think is the next chapter will be very explosive. It's going to be a lot of shit happening, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting stuff. I don't think it'll be slow paced at all.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say this. It's something I just thought of, and it's something very interesting. I do want to see the Straw Hats interact with the Gorsei, but I'm wondering, you know Mars, the tall guy, that looks very close to Gantfall.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if some of the because there's the Marshall D. Preach theory saying that
Yeah.
if because I do believe that Gantform is most likely a former celestial dragon. The fact that he hasn't aged in 25 years, looks exact same old face. I'm wondering if maybe even the Straw Hats will see some resemblance because they were close to Gantform in Skypiea. So I'm wondering if like they'll say, oh, he looked just like the old geezer from Skypiea.
Mm, mm.
Because because we all know that Oda makes very similar faces, but if one of the Straw Hats recognize that face, it means that there is something special about those two.
Yeah,
Are
good
we
point.
going to see the the other four Gorso, sorry? Are we going to see them in the human forms first, or are they already going to be in their like demonic or godly forms?
And I think they will emerge just like Saturn did in the demonic form already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are we on the same page here? If when I say that, because I think they are still sitting merrily in Marijoa, having a good time, and like they can go back at any moment because this is just
Mhm.
like some I don't want to say illusion, but just some kind of summoned avatar of them, and whatever happens to that thing will not reflect on the real person.
Oh, like these aren't their real bodies, kind of thing.
Yes.
I,
Mm,
I think it's definitely a possibility, right? Because ultimately you have this base argument for Saturn. I know Kube and Dak and myself have spoken about it a few times that like we see Saturn sort of fall asleep and then we see him popping up in some summoning circles. So it could be like they're almost holograms or clones. I mean, clones are hugely thematic to the arc because we have Kuma, Pacifistas, satellites, Stussy. So yeah, they could. If we're talking about like projections of the Gorosei arriving, I believe that's
It, it
possible.
it would make sense
It
because
definitely we can all agree they're not all going to get murked now. I don't think anyone thinks that anyway.
Mhm.
But I'd be interested to see where the God Knights come in because it's weird to drop the Gorosei like this
Mr.
so early.
Yeah.
Bushido with the €10 super chat. The Gorsei will split, and one will go after Bonnie. And to get control, one deals with Luffy. Three go for the dome. But I feel, uh, yeah, Lucci beats Zoro, frees Kaku and York, and frees Seraphim and cut the broadcast feed. Man,
Yeah, there's a
interesting.
lot to unpack there, but
yeah,
I
there
mean,
is. That is a
start.
lot.
Let's start at the beginning. Do we think that the Gorosei are have any chance of succeeding here? Because I mean, there's five of them. Luffy shouldn't really be able to win that, surely.
No, but I don't think it's going to be a coordinated attack necessarily either, right? Like, I don't think all four of them are going to be attacking Luffy. In fact, Luffy isn't even the point of the attack right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to stop the transmission, so they might not even be trying to fight Luffy potentially, or maybe only a couple will stay.
Just while we're there as well, Bushido mentioned with the €2 super chat, New Zealand isn't on some maps. It never existed.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got that. We got that.
it's a real problem.
Oh,
It's a real problem. Yeah,
oh,
I think
sorry,
even our
sorry,
prime
sorry.
minister's actually gone and talked about it, like
I mean,
in public.
these Gorsei are pretty. Their arrogance are gonna be a big factor in all this, right? Because they're gonna believe that they're just unstoppable in the first place, and they very well may be to an extent. But it will be interesting to see.
Um, and just before we go further on the Bushido's super chat on how the Gorsa are going to make their moves, I do think that yeah they could still be in their other prior question. They could still be there because if you remember how they talked, it's that everything had to start from Saturn. Saturn had to summon them. It wasn't them that's so I think that it could make sense. Saturn's body's there, so they're honing from his location. So yeah, it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
another option is that it could be their like astral forms or something, like they actually have to go to sleep or something in order to sort of awaken their spirit forms or something, and therefore
I
they're not
think,
Right.
tethered to a physical place.
yeah, yeah. The only thing it's actually Fritz that like because my initial thought was like very much that there was this outer body or astral projection sort of thing going on early days, but it was Fritz who told me like to keep an eye on the satanic circles and stuff. Sorry, the summoning circles and stuff like that. And I do really think that it would be weird to have a summoning circle like that and not have some physical manifestation, which we did see with Saturn. Saturn's physically trying to grab Luffy. He held Bonnie. Although for some reason he didn't kill her, he told the soldiers to shoot her. So even if it is astral projection, there's definitely some sort of physical element there.
Have we
threat.
have we seen Brook in his spirit form be able to interact with things physically? I can't remember.
I think only in comical circumstance.
Yeah.
Right.
But then also there's this thing that I always said it doesn't make sense with Caesar Clown's Devil Fruit and who else? Smoker's Devil Fruit. They have fruits that are connected to gas, something that has no solid properties, but they could carry things,
Mm,
which is
does it all
interesting. So,
hockey?
sorry.
Does it all come down to hockey?
Yeah, I think yeah, and it's I always think going back to the first time we really explained it, and when Luffy asked him how he can touch a Logia user, he said you turn the liquid inside the Devil Fruit the Logia user into a solid, which
Mm,
literally is the state of matter. So I do think that hockey does have an impact on that. But yeah, so
interesting.
On
that's
that one,
interesting. Yeah,
on
go
that
go
one, do
Austin.
you think perhaps maybe the temperature of the devil fruit user might come into play? Obviously, those states of matter change as the temperature is altered. Obviously, freezing point for water is 0, freezing point for other materials vary as well. So perhaps that could be at play. I don't know, just a thought that came to mind.
Well, Bushido mentioned that I think it was the Gomu. He mentioned, or Luffy has like a 10-minute time limit to some stuff, and yeah, maybe different fruits have different sort of vulnerabilities in a way. Maybe like some are more sensitive to heat because of, like you say, like the change of state, evaporating stuff like that. But maybe there's others that have different weaknesses as well. So yeah, maybe some are more time sensitive rather than element sensitive. But I imagine like a Logia, right? Logia is perfect. Like if you're a fire Logia and well, that's a really bad example. If you're some other type of Logia and you're in a liquid, you get stuck and stuff like that. It'd be a hindrance. So I'm sure the state and the change of state and thus the heat would affect the devil fruit abilities.
What if it could? I'm a big, especially with the last chapter with Sanji stopping Kizaru, or 2 chapters ago, and the power of love, and I think about emotion. What if it's a correlation between temperature and emotion? Miss Golden Week, Curly, that every colors connect to such an emotion. Sadness, betrayal, bullfighting. So I'm wondering if it could be that as well.
It's interesting because Bon Clay obviously made the wax, right? The huge wedding cake, and that melted because of the heat. And there was a lot of emotions going on in that scene.
Yeah, and also, it makes me think of
not
this
Bon
could
Clay,
also
sorry, fucking yeah, Mr. 3.
Mr. 3. But also it makes me think of? It makes me think of this is why Yamato had that ability. Because it always bothered me how she had such of a mink-like appearance, but she was using an energy on the opposite spectrum, ice, not electro. So it could be connected to that as well, like the temperature, the emotions. Because I always found it interesting that we never see there's no creature that would look like Yamato as a race if you go back to her origin and would have that element. There's no other than fishmen. There's no one that touches on water, and there's no one that touches on ice for some reason. So I always found it very interesting as an ability.
I do
It's
notice that dogs in general in One Piece, with some exceptions obviously, do seem to connect to the cold or the ice, because we see that with Onimaru as well, and even in Impel Down, we see that there's those random wolves that live on the level of ice as well.
They're guards. Yeah, the guards in level 5.
Exactly. Yeah, Tequila Wolf, exactly. So there seems to be something that ties dogs and ice together. It is something I'm kind of scripting at the moment for my next video, but I haven't really got anything conclusive just yet. That's something to
Yeah,
think
I
about.
mean, ice
You know
is
what?
like super important.
I would go even further than that. Not ice. I would say a dying land, because think in Alabasta, there's no water. What did we have? Two Zoan's dog devil fruits. Shaka and Mr. Force dog. Lasso.
Yeah, we did.
So I would even go further. It's not just ice. I think it's like a dead land, maybe. Because sand has lack of water, so and there was a drought, and there was a drought in Alabasta. So
That's a good point.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
yeah.
So also I wanted to ask about I mentioned the Gorosei coming in like Death Eaters. What do you think's going on with that black lightning when they're zooming through the sky? Do you think that's hacky?
I think it's my idea on this is that it's connected to a power Emu has, and that the forms they take on, but also like everything they're able to do, they all get that from Emu, in my opinion. All the abilities they get there are granted through Emu's power, whatever it might be, and this is why at least this is why I still think like that he's still sitting on the ship. The other four guys are still Marie Joas. And as you guys mentioned earlier already, he said I prepared the summoning. So maybe we didn't see what exactly he did, but I think he just called upon the power given by Emu to them, so they could join him on the battlefield. So practically, as long as one of them is anywhere, they can always join at any time.
Mm-hmm. You know what else it made me think of as you were explaining it, Marv, which is very interesting. Remember in Wano when Momo is alone, like not about to die, but he's being literally tortured, and then he starts screaming his name, and then Sanji pulls up, and remember what he says? He says, "Sanji," he says, "You're here," and he says, "I heard you call for me."
Yeah, he's
I
a
mean, it was
woman
so weird the
and
way he said it. Yeah, he said, "I heard you call for me." So I do think
interesting.
that what if there's something with hockey or something else with literally be able to call forth someone in the
Yeah,
sense.
good point. Be similar.
But
yeah.
yeah. Just obviously
I
it's
like
a very
I
very
find it
very
interesting how Oda's going to resolve it. If like, how do you deal with that stuff? How do you beat the Gorosei? How do we resolve it? Do the Straw Hats just flee Egghead? You think? Like if they are just rejections?
Personally, I think that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, they will have to flee.
yeah. I think it's the only thing that would work is a distraction.
Yeah, either that or they go they find out where Saturn is and physically threaten him so that he has to retreat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so
gonna
with the
end. It's gonna have to end in an explosion at the end of the day, right? Because that's what we see with all the other labs. And so, I mean, it's probably going to be a mass explosion of all the different Kumas. Maybe they will have a self detonation thing that they can be accessed or something, and it'll be a good way to get away.
Yeah. But actually, what if Marv might be right? What if you don't need to take care of all the Gorosei? You just have to disrupt whatever Saturn is using for the summoning. You know what I mean? It's like in Sholobark Perona. They got rid of the ghost when once Perona was taken care of. They got rid of all the toys in Dressrosa once Sugar was taken care of.
Very
So Saturn's
true.
Is he
behind,
Very
still,
true.
the real question is he still bound by the circle? Is he moved at all, really?
He has
Like
moved, yeah.
Because he's not bound by the
Yeah.
summoning then, because like he was properly summoned. The circle itself had the number of the true number of the cult, which was 5, which represents, like I have in a video, says it represents like earth, fire, water, and spirit and all that. And I mean, there was literally even a toll for the summoning when it consumed everybody around him when he was summoned. Like he's there.
Yeah, when he popped the dude's head up.
He's there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no
Like
question about it.
it makes that's what makes me think it. Like because, I mean, what is interesting though is we did just see Kizaru get thrown at this boat and the boat exploded. So if something like that happened and hit Saturn, then I could see it disrupting this manifestation. However, I don't think it is a hologram. I think it is some sort of Yeah, like equivalent exchange, a proper summoning in some way.
Yeah.
That
That's
said, I don't think the Gorosei would just risk leaving Marijua like that
no.
on a
I
whim.
also think like whatever is summoned there is like a physical form, but I don't think it's the original body. Like maybe I pressed
Is
myself
Right,
it
too
like
hard.
a soul for a
similar like
soul kind of thing? You know, like there's actually a Marine that who just died in that position.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically
and
what
one play
Perona
five. And...
He's
sorry,
like a
Coop.
Horcrux.
was,
He's just a walking Horcrux of himself. I mean,
Hmm.
I
yeah,
could see
That's
that.
Perona.
interesting.
Perona did that in Thriller Bark. She was able to create astral projection of her as long as her body was undisturbed. Her original body, remember?
Hmm.
And
And she
Perona's
was
yeah,
able
she
interesting
was
because she has this network of underground. She calls it the underground network of ghosts, right? Which we know that, like the Gorosei have sort of, like the imagery used with them is the underground and hell and stuff like that.
It might be a more
and
complete version. I mean, in all honesty, yeah.
yeah, an
we
advancement of it.
also had Doflamingo in Dressrosa who
Hmm.
formed a clone out of his string,
Hmm.
and that was
True.
completely touchable.
Mm, that's a good point.
Yes, and he was not even in the room, remember?
Yeah,
Somewhere else. It's true.
So, I mean, we saw in the flashback in Egghead them going to God Valley for resources. Do you think that it costs the Gorosei resources to do stuff like this, summonings?
As
It's
much
really
as I
I
not.
would
don't
say
think
Ha-
as it
so.
costs, as much as we're like they're just playing with human lives, but
Yeah, I guess
I
you could
do think there's always a sacrifice
quantify
of
it.
some kind, right?
Yeah, there might
Just
be
to
slaves in Marijua. Yeah,
yeah.
that are
The
sacrificed
fact
for
that
them.
you have to perform it as well, right? Perform the summoning, like
Yeah,
that means
yeah.
that
Yeah,
there's some sort of an exchange that has to happen. Even when Brick was summoned, weren't they also willing to sort of sacrifice something? I can't quite remember what though.
Yeah, they were going to
I did
sacrifice a
feel like
young
that.
girl, I think.
That's right. Yeah. So there's always some sort of an exchange. So I don't think the world of One Piece has magic in the sense that like, oh, you can just summon something out of nothing. Like I think it still ties into some sort of a science
Yeah,
where it is more like an alchemic thing where there is an exchange happening.
what about what was the Marine that said not to look directly at it? Like there was not apparently he either knows about this as witnesses or heard about the Gorosei doing this before, right? Because he was aware of the costs, right? Of the other Marines that were
Yeah,
pretty
that is
much
weird. That's weird. But like we know for a fact that like Saturn said he hadn't been to the surface in ages, so assumably it's just rumor. The guy's never actually seen it.
Yeah.
Hmm. I have a
So
question,
go
if you
ahead,
don't mind,
Kuzo.
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So do you guys think that the other four members of the Gorosei will actually look like demons as well, or will they be a mix of demons and gods? Like we all assume it's all going to be demons, but like the only reason that Saturn has a horn is because we saw it in his silhouette, and he kind of is connected to the bull, right? He's like a bull spider, but that's not
Hmm.
necessarily the
Oni.
case for the other four. Only exactly, and so the other four they could actually be connected to deities or other gods, and maybe yeah, the demons too. But do we think it's going to be just demons or a combination?
that's kind of hard to
Um,
guess because like the first one that we've got here that is so like it seems seems like it's so iconic that it might just be demons, but I would prefer to I would prefer to see more deities of a different
Kuso,
range, you know.
do you think we'll see what we saw in Marijua?
Yeah.
I think we'll see some sort of a representation of it, something that connects to it. Like we did see that with Venus, what's his name? Nasujiro, right? We
Yeah.
did
Hmm.
see that he looked kind of like a deity. He looked like a monk with those the silk scarves that you see with Japanese deities.
Hmm.
And so it makes me feel like, okay, well, not all of these guys may necessarily be demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, go on, Coop. I'll go after you.
no, I was just gonna say it's honestly when it comes to the Gorsei, uh, I would say for Saturn, I think they might all. I think it is very interesting. You remember when at the reverie, when one of them transformed, they all transformed at the same time.
Mhm.
I'm starting to believe that whatever they did is a package deal. You know what I mean? If one becomes an Oni, I think they will all take. You know what I mean? They share the curse. It could also be that. It's always find interesting that they all turned at the exact same time at the reverie instantly.
Mm.
Yeah,
So it could
yeah.
you could think that they're connected. You know, in
I
that
mean,
sense.
one thing we did see in the chapter was that they were communicating via some sort of telepathy, and these guys went bang on where Saturn was. Like they flew a long way, assuming they were in Marijois. It took them no time at all. So there does seem to be this weird connection, which does lean towards it being astral projection again, because it's just so quick how quick they got there and stuff.
I mean, Oda
It's
definitely
weird.
seems to be spitting with sort of that whole space time thing, right? He does seem to be playing around with that, and that
Agreed.
there might be a distortion in the physical world. I mean, we even saw a clue or a hint of this with the fact that Egghead, all the tiles on the Egghead is gridded, right? And so when we see Luffy using his abilities, we actually see what looks like a diagram of the space time distortion. Do you guys know what I mean?
Mm,
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah,
see what you're saying. Yeah, like a bend in the reality.
exactly, exactly. And so I do wonder if Oda's going down that sort of quantum route a little bit more as we go further and further.
Well, the first time we saw Vegapunk, we were talking about this earlier, like the first time we saw Vegapunk, he was using a portal, like or some sort of warp machine, right? And then
Mhm.
that was glanced over. Clearly it's intentional the first time we ever met the main Stella. So now we're in the situation where five Gorosei appear. It would appear that there's not going to be long left of Egghead. Like the Straw Hats can't be there long because there's five Gorosei there. They'll get fucking destroyed. So assumably, whoops, assumably they'd leave, right?
Yeah,
And yeah. So in other words, what I'm saying is the teleportation seems to have marked the beginning of Vegapunk's journey and the end of Vegapunk's, or the beginning of Vegapunk's journey in this arc, and the end of his journey in this arc.
yeah.
Because as I say, they arrive by some teleportation afterwards very quickly.
I do wonder if there's going to be a lot more time travel potentially. Just even the fact that Saturn is a god of time in what is it, like Greek mythology, right?
mhm.
And the fact
Mhm.
that Katarina Devon touched Saturn, who is the god of time, does that mean that somehow we're going to see Blackbeard somehow being able to use his three devil fruits to sort of conquer time in some way or another? And whether like Saturn and his abilities is going to tie into that somehow, I don't know. But like, I do wonder if, even the idea of Logtown being the town of both the start and the beginning, it's almost like the idea that time isn't a linear thing and that it's actually a looping thing. So
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot recently. So I'll put it to the other guys as well. Like, do you think there's anywhere in the One Piece world that has been very affected or unaffected by time? For example, places we've discussed are like Little Garden. Potentially, Little Garden is reminiscent of how the old world used to be. Or what do we think's between Lodestar and Laugh-Tale? Do we think that's going to be kind of an Atreya, like an old world
There's a
situation
there's one
too?
there's one place, and I've been saying it. It is not normal. So Zoe, look at the closing in Zoe. It's a spectrum. Some of them are dressed very recently, but they go to adventure. But remember the musketeers? They're dressed like they're from the 1300s. This is old attire, like old school musketeer clothing.
mm.
So I do feel like Zoe is interesting.
I mean, time is also like one of the main themes of One Piece as well, right? Wherever we go, there's always a time limit, for instance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it be
I
in
mean,
Alabasta with the giant clock or the crocodile with the sand thing. We also saw, was it Don Krieg? His flag itself is also a sand time as well.
I mean, if
Yeah.
there, in my opinion, if there was a place that was influenced by time, then it would be Annie's Lobby, since there's like daytime every
Mm,
time.
That's a good point. It's always day
absolutely.
there. Yeah.
Throw
I
me a
think
So
fucking
it,
bird.
it's
so
very. Oh, sorry, go
no, go Dead. I'll go after you. No worries.
on. I was just going to tie into what I think it was Kuso who was just saying about like time being a theme in One Piece and stuff. Like, obviously, time is very cyclical, or it appears to be cyclical in the One Piece story. So, time travel would be really interesting because you could go to any century, or you might learn that it hasn't been 800 years. You might go back 800 years and be like, whoa, this isn't what they've been saying. You go back 100 years, and that might be where, or maybe not 100, but 145 if we're counting past Kureha. But you know what I mean? It would be interesting for a character to time travel. We know that Toki, for example, was involved. So by doing that, we'd be able to get some true history and learn really what happened. So I think it's obviously it's a sensitive topic and theme to use. No one likes it, but if it's done well, then let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was
Yeah,
just
even this is the future island as well, right? And then we also seen parallels to the island of the past with Little
little
Garden as well.
garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Sorry, what were you
also
gonna say?
like yeah, I'm just gonna bring it up. Don't forget that statement from the Toltana that was part of Shanks's alliance. She mentioned Father Time, which is interesting because Father Time is literally a former deity in some myth. He's like he's literally
Mm,
the father of all time. He's the one who forced time in society. So I found that very interesting.
Kronos.
Like yeah, Cronus, you could connect to Saturn as well, but some lores don't even
Seven.
connect to Cronus. In some lores, there's Father Time and there's no Saturn, there's no Cronus.
Hmm.
So that's why that's interesting that they mentioned Father Time. Is that mentioned to Saturn? I don't know. I don't think so. It could be something else. Like what if what Saturn's power comes from? So it comes from something much even stronger. So that's like it's interesting when you think of time in One Piece because
mm,
it's a spectrum, especially when you think about the first Devil Fruit that was introduced that's based off time. Foxy's fruit. I know Marv just got excited, but calm down. The Foxy's fruit. It is literally the fruit to slow time, which I think is very telling. That's the
mm.
first fruit they introduced with space time.
Using light transmission.
Yeah. And remember what he said, Foxy? He talked about the origin of his devil fruit, which I believe is the origin of all devil fruit. He talked about that atom in the world where his fruit
Yes.
power comes from. So
That
that's I do feel like
slow
it's a bit.
particles.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I found that very interesting.
So is that the reason why Saturn can regenerate potentially then? He's just reverting time?
I think so.
Doctor Strange.
But you know
Mm.
what? I think it's more than that. You know what I think it is? Because I've been thinking it could connect everything to One Piece with devil fruits. I think he's using his memories to revert time. Because I said it cannot just be this power where he can, but if you think about it, he looked exactly when Bonnie hit him, exactly how he was like a minute before. Basically, even his shirt that was like his open wound that had blood around it disappeared, like there was nothing else.
Mm.
So it made me think of if in One Piece everything like think of Luffy recreating Ace's attack by remembering Ace, and we know that Sabo regained himself once and his will the moment he remembered who he was. So we know memories has importance. Big Mom becomes Linden after she forgets her memory. So I'm wondering if you can also affect time with your memory. If you remember how you were just before.
I mean, that would
And
also
then,
make sense, right? Because we're in Egghead, where basically there's a giga memory bank, which is the Egghead
Hmm.
itself. And even the
yes.
fact that we saw Lelouch get Lelouched, and they described it as a mother frame, which would tie into like a motherboard and a like a what's the other one?
Mainframe.
A
Mainframe.
mainframe. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And so
Yeah.
it feels like maybe there is a theme of memories sort of coming into play more and more, as you say.
Yeah, and then saying that also most memories are tied to your emotions, as we've already spoken about before.
Mm,
Like you'll hold your memory of certain events as it's going to be a lot easier to retain and recall um, if you have those emotions tied to it, those strong emotions in particular.
Mm,
the wills,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So now we're talking about memories. We're going big into the science stuff. I do want to bring up an agenda that Marv had convinced me on. and it's that there might be and so M4rth, I might let you jump in so you could, if you want to explain people why you thought of that we might get a possible Neo-Mad sighting in this arc based on the cover stories. I think I'll let you spit on that because I always thought it was a very nice approach.
Oh yeah, what started this was before we knew the giants arrived. Everyone was like theorizing who could be the culprits, like who's coming there, what's going on, and we just got to the conclusion that, like, based on the chapter stories, cover stories, that it had to be Neo-Mads because, like, the last thing we saw was Judge and Caesar Clown, like, fighting and then suddenly stopping and remembering, wait, actually, it's all Vegapunk's fault. So the next thing normally that should happen is they would pull up wherever Vegapunk is to, like, get revenge on him or something like that. So I still think they could appear.
Yeah, the reason why I brought this up in M4rth, if you remember the chapter, we saw almost everyone's reaction except Neo-Mads, of all people, who are obsessed with Vegapunk. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you
Yes.
might be right. You might be onto something. I don't know. What's everyone's thought on that? Not all at once.
Yeah. They are amazed.
No,
Yeah.
you're good. I was thinking maybe it's not revenge they want, but more so just answers.
They look pretty pissed.
Yeah, understandably, but at the same time, everyone's memory of events is going to be a little different to the others. Like,
Yeah.
you could go through the same experience and come out with different lessons, so to speak.
Bro's trying to have a
Um,
grasp
so,
on the sacred timeline.
so yeah, if they just want answers, and then they can react or respond either logically or emotionally. Just depends on what that truth is. Maybe Vegapunk withheld information from them as to why he may have done certain things, because we still don't know exactly what has happened. We're just making calculated guesses, you could say, as to why they seem to hate the man or blame the man. So maybe those answers might be answered or given in this video that Vegapunk's prepared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. Like, it would make sense for them to at least make their way towards Egghead Island.
Yeah. Actually, my guess would be that he just one day ditched them because they either didn't have enough resources anymore or because he deviated from the path they were taking until then. Like, we see that cover story where he's making flowers out of gunpowder and everyone is shocked. Before that, they probably were, like, all more on the mean side, and then Vegapunk was like, okay, I had a change of heart, now I'm gonna be a good guy. And probably that's what bothered them or something like that.
Honestly, I'm really starting to believe. When they're in the cover story, it's something you made it's something you made me think when I was looking back in the cover story is, it seems that something happened between Caesar Clown and Judge, which went the correlation to Vegapunk, and I'm wondering if, because I do agree, I think Vegapunk snitched on his own. What York did, Vegapunk did it to the Mads. I'm wondering if at that moment, Caesar Clown and Vegapunk and the Judge found out that the reason they all got arrested, disbanded, is because of Vegapunk. Because
I
even
mean,
the timing,
Vegapunk's definitely guilty of doing some dark stuff. I mean, it could have been York. It could have been any of the satellites at this point.
and if I'm not mistaken, did he have the satellites 4 years ago or not?
4 years ago, yeah, I think so.
Because it's interesting
I
because
don't
that
recall.
would, because I don't know, I think it's 3 or 4 years ago, because that would correlate around the same time that Punk Hazard had that explosion. Because recently I've been thinking that what if the satellites have been playing schemes much longer? I mean, York, you know what I mean? It
Well,
wasn't the first time.
let's open the question a little bit. Let's ask Does anyone think that there's more to the
Mhm.
satellites and the York betrayal than we've already seen? Do you think we're going to get some reveals on that?
Yeah, that's true.
I initially had a theory on that all the satellites are traitors, all but Shaka and Stella, but the recent things we saw don't make me think that anymore. So I guess not. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, would you be satisfied if York, if what we saw with York was everything we get, m4rth? I mean, do you want more?
Oh, yeah, I remember people were being a bit upset about that, but honestly, it doesn't really bother me. Like, it makes sense to me. York is great. Also had like the least important role, like eating and taking dumps, right? Even though she's just as smart as the other guys. So I can understand why York would be like, you know what, F this, guys. I'm gonna go my own way.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that's totally fine for me. Not everything has to be top-notch writing, and I don't see any problem with that. But I get why other people might not be satisfied with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Felson?
Oh, it's just interesting how they were given their, I guess, titles, not so much their names, but their titles, like good,
Mhm.
bad, greed, knowledge, wisdom,
Mhm.
and I forget what Atlas's one was, but like brawn, basically.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
you look at, yeah, Wrath, that's the one. And then you look at how the world government views some things, like they'll view good things as bad, but they'll also view some good things as good, naturally.
Mhm.
And it's sort of up to them as to whether they choose what's good and what's bad. And so, is Lilith actually bad or evil, or is it just what she's been given because that's what the tag they've given her?
You know, also something interesting about the word evil. If you put it backwards, it
Backwards,
becomes the
live.
word live.
Mm.
So it's good, that I always found interesting that he gave that name. So I always felt like there could be more to the evil concept for Lilith. But yeah, because that's
Yeah,
weird.
I think it's definitely like possible. Like naming and language is definitely a theme, a tool that's manipulated by many parties in the One Piece world, right? And the
Yeah,
fact that one of them's called logic is something that's very, I hate to say the word, but based. It's based on on stuff, whereas good is subjective, evil is subjective, right? So, yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Also is very interesting is some of them are very science-based type of theme, logic, data, brainstorming, ideas. But then some of them do not fit. Evil, well, obviously desire is subjective. It's objective with everything. But then you have what? Violence. It's just very rare. It's just weird. But anyways, yeah. Um, and so I have a question now for everyone. If let's say you could put Dragon on that list if you want. If there would be another party that you would love them to join up the Egghead right now, which party would it be?
Cross Guild.
I'm the same as you, but yeah, that's interesting.
yeah. It has felt like Dragon will come, especially earlier on with Shaka contacting him, and then it's being reviewed in this chapter again. Them asking where Kuma would have gone, and Kuma being an egghead. Salvo knowing that Bonnie's making her way to Egghead. So it does feel like at least Dragon will be there. Who knows if the rest of the revolutionary army will make their way in time, but it feels or looks like they're making their way somewhere as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible some of the Grand Fleet turn up as well, right?
Yeah, definitely quite possible. You can never rule anything out.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, he was
And there's
asking though
also
what we would like who appears. So
Yes.
I don't think it's possible if that cross guild appears, but I would certainly like it.
Mhm.
So that's why I said it.
Yeah. So I
Yeah, I
have
mean,
a
it'd be amazing if Mihawk turned up. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you
For
would
me,
Absolutely.
step up
props.
and be like, "What is this, Zolonor? You're struggling against a meerkat. I am disappointed."
Yeah, it's true. It's true. One thing I wouldn't have expected is for the Blackbeard Pirates to turn up and get Saturn. That's definitely like a party I'd kind of expect to turn up and not do what they did. Like anything but that, I would have thought. But yeah, spicy that they did touch up Saturn.
Yeah.
Up on the
There's
thing.
actually there's actually someone. Oh, go, Kuzo.
No, I have nothing. I have nothing to say.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, there is another party I would love to come, and part of me still believed he will be an egghead because it does seem that that article that's supposed to come the next day has the information of what happened on that day. I think Big News Morgan could be a good someone I would love to be there, because part of me still believe he will be there because whatever that article is seems to be talking about a lot of current stuff, and you would only know that if you were there. You know what I mean?
But
But
the
yeah,
thing
Big
is,
It's
News
true. I
Morgan.
mean, it'd be very risky taking Vivi there, though.
yeah.
Yeah,
Also, the thing is, in the very chapter, he says, "This is, it's not a time that is an egghead, so I don't think he's anywhere close, right?"
yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously,
Well,
yeah.
he's close enough
It's
to be in the same time zone, just not at the
Yeah.
place.
yeah.
But I would love if Vivi joined the crew here and there now, but
Mm.
I don't think so.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
Willa Dream says rule Dragon out because he's facing east. I've had a few people talking about it.
Bro.
Yes.
I
Man,
mean,
people
if
got
I'm not
older though, right? I noticed that Wapo looks significantly older, maybe just because of all the stress.
yeah, stress eating.
But
Yeah,
I
Waffle's seen enough.
You just say that for real, bro?
Yeah, to just start eating all the dead and mushies to make sure that none of them are alive.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Actually, there was something that was very interesting that I found. I think then you were the one up this morning, but if I'm not mistaken, the location that they showed in the chapter is the same location that the Lucia strike after a week. If I'm not mistaken, you're the one who brought it up, right? If I'm not mistaken. Is that when remember
Um,
we saw the attack of Lucia and then we saw all those countries feeling the effect after a week? We got Wano, we got Goa Kingdom. And some people, someone, I thought it was you who told me this morning that it's almost the same places that we had a few months ago with the
oh
new
no, that's not
the
me.
boss.
That might be or Will of Dreams.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
No,
might have
that's
been
not me.
Will of Fire.
yeah,
Sorry,
maybe
Will of
Will of
Fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Will of Fire. Well, that was interesting. Not all the places, but most of the places that were broadcasted are the same place that were hit by that they felt a Lucia attack, which I find interesting. Which I'm still waiting why those places of all places.
Yeah, it's interesting. We also saw all the. I mean, we've had a few of the. It's like we spoke about this the other day. Why do you think they showed Dressrosa? Like, and the places they showed, it didn't. It seemed to be kind of not irrelevant, but like this is why I asked earlier about what do you think we're going to see in the next chapter? Because I personally think we're going to be seeing more of the cutaways and other locations and people reacting and seeing part
Mm.
of Vegapunk's message. You know.
I still feel, yeah, because I still feel like, and I tell people that statement of Garb at the Reverie is crazy. With everything that happened, the only thing Garb said is, I hope the streets of Alabasta won't be that bloody. And now you see Dressrosa, like Kiros and Rebecca training for some reason, both very
Yeah.
sweaty. Feels like
Yeah.
there was something that happened after the Reverie that impacted everyone. And I'll say this, don't forget Leo was on the panel. And the last time we saw Leo with Sai, they attacked the Celestial Dragon. That's why I do feel like there's more happening in the outside world.
Mm. I do
Yeah,
feel
and
like
knowing
there's going to be people rallying together soon, right? Depending on
yeah,
what this news is going to be. what Vegapunk has to say, I think countries and people are going to start sort of rallying together to sort of fight back.
Kind of what we saw in Alabasta, right, with the rebellion sort of building up before they went on the charge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Part of me is wondering if Dressrosa was basically revoked as well sometime afterwards.
I mean, that might have been something that happened at the Reverie. They might have been talking about Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Bushido dropped a super chat, €2 saying theories on cover, Flying Six Independence Report. Wait, are you referring to a specific cover or the last cover? Let me know in the chat and I'll get back to that one. But yeah, it's interesting that they showed Dressrosa. That something might have happened in the Reverie. What else was I going to say? It's possible that. Oh no, I was going to say let's get into it. What is Vegapunk going to say?
That's a very good question. The thing is, I already said that on my own stream. I don't know. I said it somewhere. I don't think he's gonna reveal too much because let's say information that could be written down on the poneglyphs, right? I I think that's Robin's role in the series. It would be weird if we learn it from anyone else because I think in the end Robin will be the one who is gonna tell what's written on the poneglyphs to the crew and therefore to us. So it's probably not something that's super important for Luffy reaching his dream or something like that. But it could be still information about what the name of the ancient kingdom was or something like that.
Yeah, Lucas just dropped that. Straw Hat Lucas just dropped that in the chat as well. He said, "Name of the ancient kingdom might be mentioned." I like the way you worded it though. It's interesting. It's probably not something that's central to the Straw Hats, but it's sort of the B plot to the actual world lore. I'm agreeing with that. He's either saying that or he's saying watch Tainted Math's video and sub to his channel. That's the other thing I think.
Hell yeah.
Well, guys,
Watch my video, guys.
Like the stream.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
guys, I just had a thought. So I do believe that we'll get a Mechanation Kingdom, but there's something we forgot, and what Vegapunk said. After Kuma gave his memories, he said, "I'm going to tweak, look into it." What if like he has a big message, but what if the point of this whole thing is to literally clear Kuma's name? This entire flashback was about how Kuma was literally blackballed by the rest of the world. There, like even Jinbei, who was also Shishibukai. First time he saw Bonnie, "Oh, your father's a tyrant," and she got so upset. No, it's not true. What if the
Father's a
conclusion
dick.
of it? Imagine the conclusion of that is he is going not only for Kuma but for other people who are blackballed by the world government with their propaganda. Like he'll reveal the ancient kingdom and maybe reveal actions of today and maybe like clearing Kuma's name with images of Kuma's memories, because he had the
Yeah.
memories, remember, and he said he was going to tweak with it. What if he found a way to basically keep some of them, some of the visions,
I mean, I
and show
think
it to the rest of them?
also the clues are all there, right, in this arc. Like, this
Yeah.
is the island of the future, and we are seeing all of the Gorosei come together on this island. So it's most likely going to be something about the Void Century, generally speaking. I think you're right, Cube. I think there could be some stuff on Kuma, but I think when it comes to the truth of the world, it's going to be some lore drop on how this world came to be governed by the world government, and that it was probably by some underhanded tactics. And it's going to be something. It's going to be a piece of information that's going to make the Gorosei not look like the deities and the gods that they sort of perceive themselves to be. And same with the celestial dragons. It's like, they're meant to be these godly creatures, but like, what if the truth that Vegapunk reveals is going to make them seem like it's not the case, like they're seen in a totally different light because maybe they pirated their way, they stole their way into the current situation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a betrayal, or maybe there was backstabbing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, that's exactly what I see. I do believe it's Asian Kingdom, and the conclusion will explain how it affected until today with Kuma. But yeah, I can see that. Yeah, then you were
I
going to say?
do.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
but go
do
on.
believe that all the complete package of this transmission won't be let out. I believe the most important stuff will be left towards the end, and that's the stuff we won't get information on. I feel like it will get cut there, and it will leave us wanting more. And what he does say is just a little bit more on what we want. Obviously, we want more, and I believe some of it will recruit more people towards this search. Obviously, you've got Roger's last words, go find it. Then you've got Whitebeard's last words, the One Piece is real. And now you've got Vegapunk revealing some more truths of the world. And it
As he
feels like it will
dies.
recruit, yeah, as he's dying or as he's dead. And I feel it will recruit more people to the sea to find out this truth furthermore.
Yeah, I think
Wouldn't it be
that's
crazy if the truth was something like, oh, we're all from space. We're space people. I mean,
FYI.
I'm just looking at the
FYI.
panels of Egghead, and it's all like rockets and UFOs and stuff, right? So
Yeah,
3-day
I
trip in the
looking
chat
at it.
saying about it being a message from the poneglyphs, kind of like how Robin said to Croc, but instead it's revealing what he's learned about, poneglyphs in the ancient kingdom.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
they
can you
couldn't destroy those poneglyphs, and so they had to reform it some way to hide it away so that no one could get to it. So potentially,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I think all of what we've said it's pretty valid. How Oda does it, like actually carries it out in a short chapter. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if the speech itself took a couple of chapters. But then again, Whitebeard was just a couple of sentences, and Roger did give a speech, to be fair, so it'd be interesting to see. And I think it's what Kube said's pretty spicy as well. Like maybe he shows some of Kuma's memories, he projects some of Kuma's memories, or something along them lines.
Do you
Yeah,
guys think
because
there'll be another couple of chapters in before we actually hear the message? Like, I mean, even in Alabasta, when the bomb was going to go off in like 10 minutes, that was couple chapters too, wasn't
mhm,
yeah, in the anime that was a long 10 minutes.
yeah.
it?
Honestly, the fact that the Gorsi just appeared, we're still not seeing. Although Jinbei went to help Zoro, you know what I mean? Like we have so much stuff happening. I do believe that if there's something they're gonna keep, Oda's gonna tease us with, is Vegapunk's message.
Yeah.
Idea that you had. Cube. Just imagine like Gorosei going full bonkers, crazy about what is he gonna reveal? What is he gonna reveal? And in the end, the message is going through, and he's really just revealing something that Kuma was trying to say to Bonnie, or he's like clearing Kuma's name or something like that. And I mean, I guess some fans would hate that, but it would be hilarious. And the Vegapunks would certainly.
I mean, Oda is a troll. It's
Yeah, yeah.
possible. Maybe Oda just
100%.
Vegapunk's last words are his password or something like that. But I mean, it's very possible that the message doesn't get out, right? Like,
Interesting.
how confident? Like, do we think that the message is going to be fully revealed, or do we reckon it will be cut off by the Gorosei?
But I don't think it could be cut off because remember they can't even know where that transmission was coming from.
Yeah, they said it's most likely the Labo phase, but it's got a shield protecting it.
Yeah, yeah. So most likely, if they cannot sense where the frequency is coming from, how you know what I mean? It's like trying to cut off a broadcast that you don't know where it's coming from. It's almost impossible to stop it.
Interesting, yeah.
You know?
Which means they've got
Yeah.
10 minutes to figure out where it's coming from, yeah?
Yeah.
It's,
Dude, imagine if he
Bushido's a troll.
he put a den inside Marijoa that's broadcasting it for him. Imagine the podcast is in Marijoa. It would be the funniest thing ever. They
That
left
would be funny.
Marijoa. You'd have to go back. You have to stop. No.
Bushido with the €2 donation saying Vegapunk will reveal the greatest info of all, carrot for Nakama. Yo,
Of
Coffee
course.
Black, good to see you in here, brother. Good to see you in here. If anyone needs any edits, man, like Coffee Black's your man, and I'll put you through. This guy's the one.
So I have something that I brought to Den this morning, and I actually want to ask for all of you, for those who forgot, look at the cover picture, the cover story. Onigashima that's now underwater is right old Wano. Now my question is this: do you guys think it's possible the reason why old Wano is submerged isn't because of rain or a flood, but they moved the island, and when they dropped the island, a big part of the island got submerged, so they had to build over it? Because I find it interesting that Onigashima falls and finds himself right on top of old Wano. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I think Momo
What's that?
moved it there. I don't know.
or we just take Bikini Bottom and push it over there.
I mean, the most interesting thing about the cover for me is that like Kaido wanted to drop Onigashima on the capital, but it seems that he was successful, just not on the capital they wanted to. It probably
Yeah.
looks like it's landed on the capital of Old Wano, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, more on the lower case as opposed to the capital. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
That's
a
true,
bit of
actually.
the Mount Fuji that we see in the background there?
I think so.
Let me see.
Yeah, but that was just an interesting thought. I found it very interesting that it's right on top of old Wano for some reason. But it also could be Momo, like M4rth said.
Did you guys also notice that the 3 Vegapunks that we see in the transmission, they're the ones that have died? Well, I guess Pythagoras didn't fully die. Isn't he like a head or something now? Just a head?
Yeah, he's just ahead.
Okay, so he kind of got killed. I mean, it's also interesting, I guess, that like the #1 satellite, his motto or slogan is justice, right? And then Pythagoras' wisdom. It's like the enemies right now that we have are Marines, whose slogan is also justice, and then the Gorosag. Yeah, exactly. Their wisdom, essentially, right? They've lived a long time. So I wonder if there's an interesting parallel that Oda's trying to sort of pull out in there somehow.
And then there's also the Stella, which is a star, yeah. Which ties into Korosei.
Exactly.
You could go even
Could
further
even
if
be
you think about the first Vegapunk to be killed is Shaka, who is logic. And if you go back to Marineford, when Whitebeard's brain was destroyed, half of it was destroyed. It was a side of the brain that handles logic as well, which is interesting. Which I think Oda's trying to tell us something about this world and logic. Like logic gets you killed.
Interesting.
In the world of One Piece.
Or it doesn't quite get you where you want to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's yeah. Go there then.
Yeah,
no
I was just gonna say, like it might seem off topic, but there's a reason why I bring it up. A while back, we spoke about the fact that like when Sabo was in Marijoa and he saw the Gorosei, he could still move, but when the Straw Hats were in front of Saturn, they couldn't move. So I'm curious, like, does anyone have any ideas that why that might be, and if that's going to sort of not play a part now the Gorosei are here, but do you reckon there's any chance that some people are going to be immune to the Gorosei's ability, or are they all going to have this next level of ability to stop people, or do we think that's just a time thing with Saturn being Kronos, or?
Was that I know people talk about like the connections to Roman or Greek mythology, but I guess Kuso, you could probably talk more on it, but Staten in Japanese, is it Dorsey?
Dorsey, yeah, correct.
And is that Earth
Yep,
star,
that's
Earth
the one.
planet?
Yeah, Earth planet.
So,
yeah.
So I was looking at a couple different things, like the behemoth, which is, or I looked at the etymology behind that word, and it's water ox, I think it was, or a hippopotamus. And obviously Saturn is a Ushi Oni, but you've got that Ushi part, so you've got the ox part there. So I was just thinking about the Earth behemoths being land, Leviathan equivalents. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. That maybe he still might have the time aspect, but I was trying to
Oh, for sure.
extrapolate
No,
from.
I mean, Oda's never just taken from one source anyway, so I think that it's very likely that
agreed.
he's taken from that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then to answer to your question, it's when you said it, you know what it made me think of? The inspector and Akaino when they're talking about Marijoa, and he said Greenbow for sure they failed, and he said, well, it's not their fault. They couldn't act the way they wanted Marijoa. They had to limit themselves. I'm wondering if for some reason, because maybe they're that close to Cecil Dragons, that if Saturn used his abilities or the Gorsei used their ability to affect other people, because we know the Celestial Dragons, like St. Carlos, are very weak-willed. What if we would just make everyone drop in Marijoa? Similar to how Shanks got on the Whitebeard ship. Everyone, all those who were just thinking in a certain way, they start collapsing. And Marco said, don't think about him. Don't even look at him.
The slightest bit of
Yeah.
conquerors will wipe the entire place out.
Yeah, like literally, because think of someone like St. Carlos being hit by that. You know? They might not even survive from it because they're that weak. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have another thought. With Saturn becoming monarch, right? He's basically lost his last remaining 2 human limbs. He's now just got like 4 spider legs, right? Do you guys think it's his final form, or do you guys think that he's going to turn even more like a beast? Like maybe his face is going to change as well, or?
I think in his final form, his face changes to Bob Ross's face, and that's the end. Like, everyone's smiling. I don't think. I don't think it's the final form, but I think it's the final form we'll see of the Ushioni. I think he might turn into something way bigger, like a shadow or something, or hold onto your seatbelts. They might even fuse together. The Gorosei could turn into some Gundam, like shadowy Gorosei super being.
Bro,
So
Frankie's gonna get his wish, dude. Frankie's gonna
I
get a
do
wish.
agree. But I
Kaijus.
also think that it's not going to be humanoid if they do combine. I think it's going to be more like a chimera. Just
Frankie's
because
gonna
they
get
do
his
have
wish,
this
bro.
animal
I can
thing.
see that.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to make the almighty Frankie to fight each other. It'll be the Gorosei versus the Super Straw Hat Squad.
Yeah, Frankie with the Kuma power up, and Vegapunk's apple brain stuck to him with some duct tape, and boom, there you go.
I mean, if you remember Drum Island, that's what we got. Chess and Marimo were fused together.
The
Yeah,
Voltron
by holding on to each other.
pirates.
Yeah.
That's
gonna-
interesting.
And Chopper
actually,
did the same, I think, as well with the Straw Hats.
Yeah, Mr. 3 and Luffy and Impel Down. They fuse their abilities
Yep.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with Kuma's fruit, everyone? Where are we at with that?
Well, first he has to die.
Kuma's kind of been forgotten about since Saturn turned up.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? What? So it's either going to be in Vivi, Bonnie, or Frankie, right? That's the fan favorites.
Bonnie.
I
Doesn't
think
sound impossible.
the Sunny as well is a bit of a.
Sunny's another option. Oh my god.
I think that's a fan.
Yeah, putting I'm sorry, I'm realizing putting Kuma's foot into Bonnie is literally killing her right now. From what we know.
To our knowledge, yeah. Yeah, assuming she's actually got the Toshi normal.
If she really has if the way Saturn says about her ability, because it to be a devil fruit, there's a big chance that she takes that fruit. Because I do believe you can have more than one power. I just believe that you cannot do it the same way. I think it's not that you cannot have two devil fruit abilities. You cannot just have two devil fruit. But if you have a devil fruit an ability like Alvida got her fruit, her power is not from a devil fruit, from a devil fruit seed. It's not the same thing. It's a seed. It's not a fruit. So I do wonder
Yeah,
if
Blackbeard,
that could yeah. And we know
Blackbeard's got his
Blackbeard
second without using the fruit.
exactly. So I'm wondering if it's basically it's basically the concept of an allergy. Basically, when you have your first allergy, try on like a food, let's say nuts, your body will always have the same reaction because it got an
Pause.
allergy once.
He's nuts.
Kind of,
Pause. I shall return.
man,
So do we think that Blackbeard didn't get his second fruit from a physical fruit?
no, definitely
Not
not.
unless
Yes.
he put unless he put the blanket over his head and he put like a pineapple inside Whitebeard. I don't think so.
I mean, the other option is that like Doc Q always carries around apples, right? So he did have access to apples for sure.
The thing
That's
is that
true. Nasty.
the thing is the thing is that bothers me is it has to be something else. It would explain why Justice Burgess also used a knife like he did to kill Tatch, and why did he hide the process? You know what I mean? Because he immediately showed what he did. Like there's something about what he did that he doesn't want people to see.
It might be the nature of the Yami. Like you might have to, like you know how the Uchiha like awaken their big peens and stuff like that. I think it might be like that. Blackbeard might have to just like kill his own crew member and stuff like that.
I think there's three options, right? One is that he knows how devil fruits are reborn, and it's in the form of fruits, and so he would literally just have a fruit. And if people knew that, then they'd just be killing devil fruit users left, right, and center while holding a fruit, right? The second option is that he does know where the soul is located in the body, and so maybe by consuming where that thing is, whether it be the heart or the brain, he is able to consume the soul and therefore consume the ability. The third option is, you're right, Dendan, it could be that it's potentially the Yummy Yummy, because we've already seen evidence that that is something that he can do, is to somehow affect the devil fruits and nullify their abilities. And he said it himself that he can basically absorb anything, right?
The thing is, I have with the Yami, this is why I think the Yami enables him to have more than one power and use them simultaneously. But I think the ability to take from someone, because it doesn't explain why Jesus Burgess, who was alone, was ready to take the fruit out of Sabo with a knife. And he's a wrestler who uses his fist. And he did the same thing, Blackbeard, to kill Tad. So I do believe that I think the Yami gives him an advantage. I think like you can have a fruit, but I think the Yami enables him to have maybe more than one. Because you know, it nullifies it.
Agree. The only
nullifies.
thing that makes me question that is why would he then have to cover it? If it wasn't a piece of knowledge that people could steal and use it themselves, then why would it matter that he covered it? Like if it was a Yummy, then no one can do the same thing that he can. So why does it matter that like people know how it's done?
Honestly, it's the same. I think it's for the same reason why Coca-Cola keeps their secret recipe a secret. No, I think it could be simple as that. It's the advantage you have
Yeah.
over other people.
Mm.
It could
Knowledge
be this
is
thing that
power.
there, there is something about it that he doesn't want people to see it, and that's why I feel like I don't know, it's either taboo, or it's something that he doesn't want the world government to know that he's doing.
Okay, well here's
That
a
they
fourth
fear.
option. That it's actually
Oh, yeah.
Blackbeard's body itself, right? Because Marco's already
Yeah.
said that his body
Yeah.
is strange. And so there's something in his lineage, which was actually brought up in the previous chapter, right? That he's got this
Yeah.
special lineage. And so maybe
Yeah.
that is what it is. So we got some
What do you
pretty
think
good
his lineage
contenders.
is?
He's a Cerberus dog werewolf type of thing.
Okay, I think he's like three. I think he's a little bit of everything, but three particular. Maybe like I don't know, Lunarian,
Buccaneer,
for,
and something
you know,
else. Fishman.
Mm.
Hence the
I mean-
name. He was going to be given everything D preach or teach. Sorry, everything D teach.
yeah.
I'm going with, if we go this three, I think I'm going with those three races that Big Mom most likely did not have: Lunarian, Giant, and Buccaneers.
Okay.
It could also
what
be
do we
a
Yeah, Buccaneers are
combination
in that order of the races.
of the Race of the
Sorry?
Sun
Yeah,
and the
that's
Race
what I
of the
was
Moon.
thinking.
I
What
don't
did you say,
think
John?
Buccaneers weren't one of the races big one considered when she said one of the two races.
Okay.
Obviously my headcanon is the third one is Buccaneer because it was this big thing on the Buccaneer we got revealed. But obviously, if it's the third one, it's just my headcanon puts Buccaneer, but I'll say the third one, Lunarian Giant and that third race.
They're
You
just
know,
I mean,
Tony.
she's looking awfully like a Buccaneer herself. But
Exactly.
I was going to say, what do we think Blackbeard sent Devon to do?
Well, she said mission accomplished when she touched the Gorosei, right? So
True.
But she said, what's the chances of this happening? This will speed up. This was unexpected, but this will speed up Blackbeard's plans.
okay, so I think her task was to get access to any high priority VIP or something like that and touch them.
the thing
Would
is,
have done the trick, or any like high CP member, because they probably knew that CP members were going in and out of Egghead. So if she touched Lucci or something like that, it could have worked as well.
my thing is in this whole thing is, even though I do agree, I feel like it was more her saying that we were able to achieve our mission thanks to Egghead. More to that, because the first thing she said by touching him is mission complete. Is when she touches it, mission complete, and then she tells him, "Oh well, this really speeds up the thing." And I think she was not talking about Saturn being there, but the event happening. Like basically, that's how they were able to do it so fast. Because if it wasn't for Egghead, they wouldn't have the opportunity to take a copy of a Gorosei. I always felt like it was the end goal. It's just because of Egghead, Blackbeard had to speed up his program. But that's just me. That's just me.
I kind of have to agree with you, Cube. Like, Blackbeard pirates seem like the type of crew that it doesn't seem like it matters to them whether something seems impossible to do, because they have this like absolute belief or faith that luck will be on their side. You know, they've been talking about fate and luck and fortune ever since the very first chapter that they've appeared. And so I think they had some sort of faith that even if it seemed like an impossible task to come to Egghead, and they didn't even know necessarily that Saturn was going to be there, but they had this faith that, oh yeah, this is just going to work out somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time about Caribou, like ending up with the Blackbeard Pirates. He just happens to hear all these things, and Oda's not going to just be like, "Oh, it's coincidence." Only on one
No.
exception would he do that, and that is if the coincidence is like intended, which is like what we see with the Blackbeard Pirates. Everything's some lucky coincidence, and now suddenly Caribou's with them with knowledge of two ancient weapons. So it's super spicy.
It is. How many of you guys predicted that Caribou would join the Blackbeards, and and that the Blackbeards were the ones that Caribou was talking about this whole time?
But it isn't
I
Blackbeard.
don't think it was. I personally don't think it's the ones he was talking about the whole time. However,
Ooh.
I do still think he's fated to be with the Blackbeard Pirates. I think it might also be fate that Caribou plays a small part in Blackbeard's downfall.
Yeah. Also, Kuzo, like this, the statement that he used in the official when he talked in Wano, he said, "The guy, he will not believe what I just found out," stating that he'd already talked to that person. In Wano, he spoke like that person and him were already talking, and with Blackbeard, it seemed that he didn't even know him. That's why I still
You-
believe it's two different people.
Would that potentially be a translational error though?
Not because it came out with the Viz. The Viz clarify. I remember on the Viz, that's why. Because I rechecked
Okay.
it a couple weeks ago, that's why. And in the
Interesting.
official in the Viz in Wano, it seems that he knows,
Do
or
you
at
know what
least he has
chapter that was
talked to
by
him.
chance?
Dude, wait. I can find it. Give me a couple minutes.
Sure.
If you want. So, does anyone else have something about the chapter, or else I still have some subject on some other stuff, or else?
Well, I mean, shoot for the other stuff if you want. We've been cooking about the chapter for quite a while, and we can always come back to it if it connects.
I did like that Kizaru seemed very remorseful. Like he knew that this is what had to happen. Like it's almost as if he knew that he was the one who had to kill Vegapunk so that this message can be released or something.
I mean, I said it about the Kizaru and Garp thing, so I'm going to sound like a broken record, but bit of a Snape and Dumbledore situation, if you know what I mean. Maybe Kizaru was in on it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does tie into the whole Garp thing, right? His speech about, like, look, an old man has to die for the sake of the new generation kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see this a few chapters later, so it definitely is a connection for sure.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
spicy.
man,
I think it's 10:56, but I'm not.
1056.
The chat.
Have a look.
Okay, so I do want to bring up some few questions, and actually I'm going to pivot this to more pre-time skip stuff, but we could also do post-time skip. My first question, and it's a really hard question. Each one of you tell me what is your favorite ship design in One Piece.
What? That's sudden.
Yeah.
You guys go
No,
first.
but
Not including the Baratier.
not including the Baratier.
Design.
Man, are you all?
I'm
stumped.
currently I'm thinking
Pre-time skip. Probably the Saint Brice.
Saint Brice, did you say?
Yeah, not just because I mentioned it in my theory, but also because I think it looks cool. It's pretty big,
I mean,
and it has this.
that is super pre-time skip as well. 200 years ago.
Yeah,
pre-time
were
skip.
we talking about pre-time skip or?
I said
No,
pre-time
no,
skip.
no. That counts. That counts.
Okay, yeah.
Did you say
I
pre-time skip?
Yeah. I like the gloomy atmosphere about the whole thing. Pretty cool. And the figurehead.
No one's saying Victoria. That got cut in half into the bottom of the sea.
Bro, I like Victoria Punk.
But we're talking pre-time skip.
Let's,
Really like to one.
When it was still in One Piece.
Does the submarine
ship-
count as pre-time skip? Technically, we
Yeah,
saw
Polar
one.
10.
Yeah, the
That's
Polar
just
10.
before.
Sweet. That's my favorite then.
I like that one too.
It's
But I
very
like
cute.
that one post-time skip as well.
The submarine, really?
Yeah, what's wrong with it? It's a yellow submarine. Come on.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Yeah, you're not a Beatles fan. That's fine.
Beatles.
Yeah, I wouldn't
So-
say that
I
too many
know the
times on the
Beatles
stream.
song,
You'll
but,
get
I mean,
copyrighted.
It's submarine. I mean,
So for me, honestly, and I'm shocked that no one dropped that name of that ship. The Ark Maxim of NL.
Oh,
Dude. That was a beauty. I'm sorry.
I mean, it was a badass ship. I wouldn't say it's my favorite though. You know, it doesn't have that same like emotional connotation. Although
Yeah,
I don't
that's true.
know. I'm surprised that no one said the Mary.
Yeah, same.
I
Particularly
was
with
thinking
the
it.
Yeah.
with the Club Outman.
listen, that
Sure.
ship made me cry. I would never choose it. No.
Dude, I'm gonna say
That's
something.
okay.
I'm so happy the Mary's gone. I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
Bro.
Boo.
The speed at which he was like just kidding.
And then I can hear Srida in the chat getting upset.
Okay, going, gone.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there has been some spicy ships throughout the whole series, but
I mean, I
none
would
of them
say
are really like.
it was more upsetting for me to like to see Usopp there just struggling with knowing that things are at its end and just not like really accepting the limitations of what things are. So like being told it can't be fixed and being determined that he's going to fix it. That was
That would have been the same, man. Fuck iceberg.
Wow, I
I
like
mean,
Iceberg.
Kaku.
Dude.
Kaku's the one that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were all telling him.
Iceberg
Everybody
too.
was telling him. The rest of the Straw Hats, they knew that it was at its wit's end. All right. I mean, they put that thing through hell. All right.
Lucci and
Good.
Kaku possibly died to the Gorosei, yes or no?
Nah.
Oof.
No.
No, I don't think they die.
Why
Just
though?
because
Oh, because they're like persecuted now by the government again.
And
I mean, I have a
Well, there's
question
no
to ask
one
you.
else who's going to run
Are-
CP0.
Well,
My
they
thing
said they
is-
were going to kill him in the Busticle, right? So
and
Yeah, my thing is that first of all, are they going to because other than O'Hara, who's have they successfully killed off
Hmm.
other than the O'Hara event? Because it
Nobody
doesn't seem that
ever.
they're it doesn't seem like they're not doing a good job. Who escaped? You know, Guernica is still kicking apparently. Like a lot of people that they give them death sentence, they keep. And Rablucci was basically not persona non grata, and he's now back in Cypher Pol. Like it's very weird.
Not just that, he got promotion to Cypherpol 0 and an Awakening.
Yeah.
I still think going down in Cypherpol, like from 9 to 0, whatever, might be not as much of a promotion as it sounds like. I feel like it's more like you go into some kind of suicide squad. The more you fuck up, the worse the squad you're gonna join is gonna be. You're gonna get all the missions that will probably kill you and stuff like that.
I always felt like, yeah, for me, I would say that, and I would say it's about curiosity, because that's the thing they introduced at the beginning of the arc with Kako and Rob Lucci. He says, "Stop being curious, Rob, Lucci."
Killed the
You know,
cat.
yeah, curiosity killed the cat. So I'm wondering if what Marv is saying is basically your size, you maybe start CP9, and as you become more liable because you ask questions, you might be promoted, not realizing they keep an eye on you
Hmm.
until you reach 0. Because we know 0, there's some sort of like weird indoctrination. What Guernica said to X-Drake was very weird. I envy your freedom. That was very weird the way he said that. Like he had no other choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that
So,
was
yeah.
a spicy moment for sure, and they tilted their hats, and most emotion we've seen from Cypherpol 0.
No,
Except
exactly.
from when they were kids at Lamb's house with Big Mum. Agenda piece.
Okay, so now I'm gonna go with another question pre-time skip, guys. Ready? If you could bring back a side character, a character we just met, like say for one arc, who would you want them to come back?
Like back from the death or back into the story?
No, back in the story. If they're dead, they're dead.
Okay.
But since almost no one
Well,
dies in the story.
No, this
yeah.
is One Piece. What are you talking about? People don't
Yeah,
die.
exactly.
Din knows my agenda, so he knows who
Yeah,
is
yeah.
coming back. You know who is
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back into the story.
He'd
you know what? I
say
want Kuro
Golden
back.
Boot straight off the bat. I think Kube might say similar as well.
So I
Yeah,
actually missed the
100%.
question. What was the question, sorry?
Pre-time skip. Who do you want? Which side character do you want to come back? A side character
Oh.
was part of one arc.
What,
at
into
least.
the crew or something, or
No, in the story. In the story.
just in the story? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
just to
okay.
see that character back. You know, if you.
Oh,
But like,
I'd
for
love to see
example,
Enel.
Carmel would be a oh, NL, fair enough.
Yeah, Enel would
Mm.
be
I mean,
good to
he
have.
was
Yeah,
the
that's
main
a good one.
villain of the arc. He was only a set character.
Yeah. Enel, Bonchan, Foxy. I need all
Ah,
of them.
Bonchan for sure, actually, you're right. I was
Daimon,
He will come
Tonji.
back.
Why didn't you
Hey.
say Foxy for sure?
What was that, Muff?
Yeah. Why didn't you say? Oh yeah, Foxy for sure.
No. Foxy for sure, I would not want to see him back. Yeah.
Why?
Foxy has come back too many times in fillers. Too much.
No,
Yeah.
Guys.
listen, fillers don't
Guys,
Oh,
It's
Dom.
I'm
often-
ashamed. Guys, I'm ashamed. I gave you the best volley to smash it. So I'm gonna give the best answer, Mr. Two Bon Clay.
I already said.
You all
I
failed.
think
What?
he
He already
will
said
come
that. He
back.
already said that.
Yeah, we
He's
already
been in
said
like
that.
every
Oh,
season
dude,
ever.
dude, I did not hear. I didn't hear Mr. Two. Sorry, guys, I didn't hear it. I thought somebody forgot. I said, Dan, no
You were
one said
there.
Mr. Two.
Oh,
No,
Dama,
I would love
Kodama,
to see him
dude.
back.
The chat definitely wants Jin to come back, and to be honest, it would be nice just so the memes would stop.
Who's Jin?
Dude. Don Krieg, screw.
Where's
No,
my
I'm
fraud
kidding. I'm
button?
kidding, bro. I'm kidding.
Kodama, bro.
No, you're not.
You know my thing. I've always said this. After I saw the live action, I'm convinced Jin is gonna come because in the live action, the only thing they kept in that arc is showing that Jin saw Jin Luffy.
I could not care less if he came back. But sure, he can be in a panel.
Kodama needs to
Honestly,
come back and set off a firework that's heard across the world, bro.
This is
also,
spitting right now.
honestly, I would love Jin. If Jin comes back, honestly, it's one of those characters where I would not. I'm not expecting him to come back. Obviously, like really, but I would love to come back because I always felt like he had an interesting character.
Mm,
He had loyalty to the wrong person, but you could respect his loyalty in a sense.
I
Like he was
agree.
willing. He was
Yeah.
willing to die. So I would like to him to come back with a better story, because I think that if he had a better captain, that arc would have been goated. Because Jin really made it great. It's just Don Krieg was, a horrible leader, horrible. You know what I mean?
Okay,
He
well,
was.
how about this? If he was to join another crew because he was like, you know what, fuck this guy. Whose crew would you like him to join?
Cross Guild.
Gross killed.
It's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's Luffy's greatest hit if you think about it. Zoro lost against Mihawk. Luffy beat Crocodile. Luffy beat Buggy. Zoro beat Mr. One. Literally, most of the members who we know of there have either have beaten a Straw Hat or have been defeated by a Straw Hat.
Mm,
It would be very, romantic in a way.
I
Of him
wouldn't
joining
mind
that
if it
death.
was like Law's crew or something. I don't know, just like vibe-wise, I feel like he would fit better. Like Cross Guild seems very kind of Val, you know?
Yeah. Well, the problem I have with
My
Lost
answer
Crew.
to the bringing somebody back, by the way, would be Captain John. I'd love to see more of Captain John.
Ooh. Well, I mean, we are gonna get more of Captain John regardless in the flashback. We know that.
Oh, the drunkard. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he also had such an interesting story
Very
because now that we know the connection with the rocks, the way he died is very interesting. A mutiny. It's very pirate-like, and I think he's the only pirate in the story who died through a mutiny.
Mm.
Yeah, not just any mutiny. He had 2 blades in his stomach, and
Yeah.
he was. It looks like he was knocking around with 2 rocks pirates at the time, and John seems to have taken. Personally, I believe he took the treasure at at God Valley, and switched it with Shanks in the chest. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
I don't know if you guys have heard that theory in the past. That people thought. I don't know whose theory was. That maybe Captain John could have had Buggy's fruit. That's why he's obsessed with Captain John.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah, because
Sure
they said
would
some
be
of this,
cool.
because a lot of the
Just-
damage they said was bullet wounds, and he did have
what-
those big swords wounds, but he said most of them were bullet wounds. And it's interesting that it could have been the Baranomi that he had back in the day.
Like his soul is trying to find his like a lost treasure again or something.
Yeah, it's like how I believe
Mm.
Crocodile's outfit is connected to Pluton. That's why he's obsessed with Pluton.
That's cool.
speaking of which, what do we think is the next ancient weapon we're going to see? Do you reckon we'll see some Pluton in Wano or some actual Uranus, maybe connected to Egghead, considering the Mother Flame, or any
Poseidon.
thoughts? Okay, that was a
I think we
curveball.
find out
How
who-
do you think Poseidon's going to come in there?
Well, it's strange that in this most recent chapter, when they've gone around the world, they've shown all these places that are either relevant to the Straw Hats, but we don't get anything on Fishman Island in particular. So I thought that was interesting.
That is
Obviously, you got
interesting.
some other islands like Amazon
So-
Lily. We don't get that, but Fishman Island in particular, I thought would have, unless something is happening right now.
So, for me, I'm happy you brought that question because it's something I've been thinking long and hard, and I'm gonna go back with Neptune. We're gonna post time skip, but he's the one who gave the name of all 3 ancient weapons one after the other. He started with Pluton, went with Uranus, and ended with Poseidon. And we've already got Pluton after Wano, the mention of Pluton and where it is. So I think the next one might be Uranus, on how he talked about that.
I would also bet on Uranus. I think Elbaf is going to be that arc. I think Nami is going to play a huge part in that for sure.
I mean, how do you think York made the Mother Flame? Do you not think there'll be traces of Uranus on Egghead?
Could be. Could be. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that much in terms of AK, to be honest. But yeah, I could see that.
Honestly, I'm very curious about Uranus because it's the only one that's not actually a god. It's even
Excuse
it's
me,
even bigger
please.
than a god.
Wild. No,
Yeah.
carry on, Kube. I was joking.
I was gonna say, Uranus. I think it's the one I'm very curious about because it's the only one in the actual legend. It's not even a god. It's a primordial force. You know, it's the primordial force of the sky. It's literally the embodiment of the sky. That's
If I
something
remember
even Zeus
correctly,
couldn't
he
do.
was also the father of Zeus, wasn't he? Uranus? Or am I mistaken?
No, Cronus was the father, but he was basically
Cronus?
related, but he was the predecessor of Zeus. Basically,
Ah,
after
that's
Uranus
right.
was gone, Zeus named
Mhm.
himself God of the Sky. But what Uranus was is even bigger. It was literally the embodiment of the sky. So that's why I'm very
Yeah.
curious about what Uranus could actually do, based on that.
They were also, I guess, how do you put it?
Duopoly.
Their partner was Gaia, which is Earth.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mother Earth, which has come up
Mother
quite a few
Earth.
times in One Piece already.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, is it Uranus who was also considered to be the mother of all Titans?
I think Uranus was a dude, right?
Okay, maybe it was Gaia then. But they were
Yeah,
together.
Gaia
Okay,
was a mother.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gaia is the mother of all Titans. Okay.
Rhea. Rhea is the mother.
Oh, Rhea. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
She was an Earth goddess.
Yeah.
And the daughter of Uranus and Gaia.
Speaking of gods, actually, I think a lot of us would agree that Blackbeard and Straw Hats are going to fight at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I assume that's not really up for debate. But we've seen from the very first chapter that we see the Blackbeard crew that they've got epithets that are kind of tied to like gods and demons, right? Like Doc Q is like Death God. We see that Van Ogre sounds like ogre, like a demon or an Oni. We see that Jesus is obviously tied to Jesus. And we're also starting to see that the Straw Hats are starting to see starting to get godly and demonic epithets as well. So I'm betting that by the end of it, we're going to see all crew members on both sides having sort of epithets that are tied to gods and demons potentially. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Kusa go
you
first.
go, Dan.
Or Elson go first.
I was just thinking about like the Titanic captains, and that sort of ties into
Greek myth,
gods. Yeah, Greek mythology. The Titans being the predecessors to the gods on Olympus. So that's my initial thoughts on the matter. It could be somewhat with the Titans versus the Olympians,
Yeah, I like
which
that.
isn't like an original thought, but it's something I've resonated with.
Yeah, one idea I was thinking is I would be interested to see if it scales from hell to heaven. Like we've got Zoro, who's like the king of hell, and we've got Brook, who's the ferryman, and like we've got Nami, who's got connections to
your latest
sky and
video,
stuff.
right? You gotta plug that.
So, there's another one that's going to be coming out with this specific stuff in, I think. But oh no, actually not with the specific stuff, but yeah, with the ferryman stuff. But yeah, and then you've got Nami in the clouds who does with various stuff. So it might be a case that each straw hat is a different like level in the chamber. But I do agree that it'll probably be half of the crew above ground, half of the crew below, or something like that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Zoro being king of hell, he's obviously more on the hellish side of things, right?
yeah, and Sanji seems a bit more demonic as well.
Yeah, Sanji's an odd one. I feel like he's a bit of both, right? He kind of switches, like in the same way that his eyebrow switches. He kind of goes from like a demonic being to kind of like a godly being as well.
Well, yeah.
I agree. I agree. A bit of a fallen
But,
angel sort of thing.
Oh,
but if you
yeah.
think about it, Kuzo, if you think about Sanji, what's
Mhm.
interesting about Sanji is he fought against Pearl. He fought against Mr. Two. You could say with Queen, talking about his younger age, same thing. A lot of
Mhm.
people that Sanji has faced, Jabra, same thing. He played with a lot of people play with two identities, two epithet, the double
Yeah.
identity crisis. So I do feel like Sanji is this guy who's in the middle ground. He's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
So the
Literally.
question is, could it also be the Baphomet that he signifies? Because the Baphomet is also the equilibrium between the good and evil. Well, not good and evil, like male and female, left and right. And the fact that he's connected to the Kamabaka kingdom as well, for example, and that
Yeah,
might
I
also
think
be.
the Baphomet thing is interesting. I was thinking of androgyny as you were talking about it, and then you pulled in the Kamabaka stuff, and that for me pretty much seals the deal. I think you're bang on there.
Yeah, and you've also got like the zodiac animal that he's tied to being the goat.
Ooh, I totally forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
a really good point. Yeah.
And also I do like to think that his last attack against Queen, M4rth, if you look at it, it's a it's a myth, a demonic myth, but that's both in the Islam lore and the Japanese lore. They're just too different. I think in the Japanese, someone recently I saw a short where they talk about the Japanese one is more vampire-like, while the Islam version, the Muslim version of Islam, is demonic. So I do feel like maybe Oda is playing with both of them with Sanji.
Whoa. Dragon just came into the chat.
But actually, I do like this idea that the Straw Hats will be half because I always correlate it with the nicknames of the Blackbeard pirates in opposition to the Whitebeard pirates. Like Diamond connects to purification. The Phoenix is a deity, is created by Poseidon. Poseidon's power is to create tsunami, shock waves, and earthquakes, just like Whitebeard. And he is the father. He's like the surrogate father of the Phoenix, who is the surrogate father of the Phoenix in the story is Whitebeard to Marco. So so I'd always felt like the Blackbeard pirates represent like the underworld, the Whitebeard pirates like paradise, and the Straw Hats are in the middle ground, half and half, which could be interesting, because that's why you need to change the world. You need to be half and half. You cannot be just full darkness or full light.
I mean, yeah, I think you're bang on there. Even when Luffy first became Nika, right? He's meant to be the sun god, and yet what does he transform under? A full moon.
Yeah.
And so I think he's also got like half sort of the sun symbols and half moon symbols in him as well. Like I think something to do with his lineage might be tied to that.
Oh, 100%. And then if you look at like the psychological side of things and Carl Jung and his teachings, how he goes into the shadow, the ego, the self, and you can't really attain the self unless you've explored those other avenues, the entirety of your psychological makeup in order to realize the self or come to full enlightenment.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And also, I do like this idea of, if you think about it, you know how Luffy is as Joy Boy? Like, he's only laughing. A lack of awareness, like, of who he is, in a way. Kind of makes you think of the Kaguya lore, the actual moon god. When she comes back from the moon, she becomes a shadow shell for who she was and personality-wise. And under the full moon, Luffy literally comes Gear 5, and he becomes, like, he goes from the serious guy to this completely lack of, of seriousness. Even Kaido told him, "Yo, dude, stand up. It's not a place to be
Yeah, I mean his
laughing like that."
eyebrows literally switch direction. It's pretty telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing
But I
I'd like
mean,
to point out as well. Oh,
Zagrash
sorry, no shoot.
Sorry, I was going to say quickly, Zagrash and Nelson and I were talking the other day about the fact that like you see very similar, like very like opposite type of thing with Zoro. Zoro is constantly calm, non-reactive, and then when it's time to switch it on, it's time to switch it on, and he just goes wild. So you do kind of see it in both of the wings of the captain.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so that's actually very interesting when you think about I always thought about the Whitebeard pirates and the Blackbeard pirates and the Straw Hats, but it's really that I'm now trying to find if there's other correlation with other crews. You know, like now I'm wondering what is because we have some of the epithet of the red hair pirates, but that would be interesting to see the themes of it. What do they correlate to? Considering they're trying to do something, but yeah. So okay, so you know what? I'm gonna do something even though it's impossible. Do you guys have an idea on where we're gonna go in the next couple of arcs? We're removing the Vegapunk message because we all have this headcanon.
Okay, can I jump in real quick and then ask a
Sure.
question tied to this? It's been
Sure,
on
go.
my mind all day. It just came out of nowhere. Do we still think the Vera Island is relevant? You know when
No.
Oda said
Yes.
like, well, okay, that's one yes, one no. But it's interested that Oda even brought it up.
I don't remember what that is. Sorry.
He put it in an SBS saying, what islands are these? Which of these 3 islands is going to be relevant? And there was like 2 like ones that you'd expect, and then there was Vera Island, and everyone was like, "Who the fuck is Vera Island?"
Sphinx, Elbaf. It was Sphinx, Elbaf, and Vera.
Wait, hold on. So he said those 3 islands may or may not be relevant coming up?
Yes, in an SBS.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know anything about this. What is that?
No, it was the month break. What was the name?
Oh.
Was the
Road to
Road to Last.
Yeah, during the road to Last.
Where was the last location of the Poneglyph? Something like that.
Yes, yeah. The last location of the road Poneglyph, which is one of those 4 islands. Yes, or one of those 3 islands.
Nice, yeah.
But for me, I think Vera is also like just to make sure to see who is it connected to, because I think it had a past. Yes, this is the island that Mont Blanc Nolan went as well. I was just checking in. For me, are we gonna go to Vera Island? No, but I do think that we're gonna get some lore about Vera Island. Like we're gonna find out about something that happened in Vera Island, that kind of stuff. I just don't think we have to go to Vera Island. I think it'll be relevant to the story.
The Poneglyph at one point was there.
Yeah, because why mention that the Revolutionary took it as their stronghold? It's one of their stronghold for some of their headquarters in the Grand Line Paradise, and also that this is where Nolan went there 400 years ago. Like there has to be a reason why mention those information in the story.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like the stuff we've been talking about with the whole Noda Skywalkers requesting the covers. Like Oda is clearly, or his staff are clearly requesting these images, and they're not being asked by fans.
I know.
Little clues.
So yeah, so to go back to with that answer, where do you guys think, removing Vegapunk's question, because I'm very curious about everyone's answer, where do you think we're going to go in the next couple of chapters? Like, what are we going to concentrate more on?
Well, I mean, I thought it would be directly to Elbaf, to be honest, but now I don't know. Like, I didn't think there was going to be too many detours.
They could make. Like,
do you think that all the Straw Hats are going to go there?
Yeah.
Sorry, Math.
Yeah.
What was that, Math?
I just said they could make like a little detour over Sky Island and from there go to Elbaf. But
I mean, Elbaf has a giant tree that goes to the sky. Why would that would be the same time they go to Sky Island? It would be the same thing.
They get crypto boosters so high that they end up on a Sky Island.
Yeah, but like they could also just we still don't know where the summit of the High West is. So either it's directly on Elbaf or it's somewhere close, and through that they could get to the Adam tree on Elbaf. That was my thought process here.
I mean, why at this point? Why add more? Why couldn't it be just Elbaf? When we know it's giant.
Yo, chill, bro. I'm not saying I don't want them to go to Elbaf. Like, what's the question?
Yeah, let's go to the Elbaf. Why go to? Why a detour at this point?
For me, I don't. Yeah, for me, I don't think it could be a detour to Elbaf. I just think that there's going to be something before Elbaf. Like it could also be naval. It could be on the sea. I just don't think we're going
like similar similar to like Fishman Island, yeah? How we're
Yeah,
planning on
yeah,
going there before the time skip, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden, Kuma shoots everyone else all around the world. And we've already made a lot of connections between
Yeah.
that arc,
I mean,
Sabaldi,
it's
and
not looking
this
like
arc.
the. Sorry,
No, that's
I was
all I had to say.
yeah, I was just going to say it's not looking like the Straw Hats are going to have time to plan to leave. It looks like they're going to be leaving quickly, so maybe they will
Yeah.
detour.
Yeah, and also like this, as I just thought of, and let's say they go directly to Elbaf. I don't think it's the government are going to be that, because remember how they tried everything possible to stop Whitebeard and Shanks to meet up, and let's just say that Shanks he's a bit neutral, so even they didn't want him to speak to Whitebeard to interfere, and then we found out that they don't like when Yonkos meet one another. Remember when Kaido Big Mom, they were panicked when two Yonkos teamed up. So I'm also wondering what would happen if they see ahead of time that this Joy Boy is going to the territory of Shanks, another Yonko. So also that, because I'll say this, they might be scared of Elbaf, but I think if push comes to shove, they're willing to nuke that island from afar. They would be willing to risk it.
On that note, we're going to start closing up. So if anyone's got
Yep.
any thoughts on what Kube was saying, or sort of Egghead as a whole, or anything like that, now's the time to ask them questions or share them thoughts.
Okay, well, in terms of the Elbaf being Lelouchid, I am curious as to how much control they have over the mother frame in terms of, navigating it. Like when Emu said, it's close, my initial thought was, maybe it's like a moon. It like has to orbit around and they can't actually control where it stops or whatever. But then the way it kind of appeared and disappeared made it seem like it can be maneuverable. So now I'm not too sure. But I would be curious as to like maybe if there is some sort of a limitation on where it can fly. And so even if they did want to nuke Elbaf, maybe they won't be able to,
Yeah, I personally believe that's the case. I think Mother Flame was used close to Marishwa because it's got flame in the title. It probably uses flame like energy, and we know that the government seem to be quite sensitive about things that are frozen, like the Straw Hat and Marishwa, that they probably don't want to heat up. So I agree that they probably aren't looking to send the Mother Flame out to the opposite side of the world.
Good point.
Anyone else? Any thoughts on Kuma, on Saturn, on the Gorosei, Vegapunk, R.I.P.
Man,
No, I'm good.
I'm not sure if he's dead yet. I mean, he looks very dead.
I mean, his body is dead, but at the same time, Stella's body didn't have a brain in the first place. He's still alive in the punk records.
That's
Punk
what I
Records.
think too. Like his brain is still intact in some forms or ways, so he's probably still somewhere.
And I guess he'll never be forgotten.
Oh my god.
Correct.
Vegetable piece.
That's funny.
Yeah, but ouch.
Not
I'm
even
not
that,
sure who-
but Vegapunk is a
Unless
VTuber in the one
Sugar
before.
comes back.
He pulls out a
They were
freaking celestial flash drive, bro.
Yo.
They were busting loads of jokes about him in the chapter about his head because no one's seen him in so long. So loads of people were like someone said, I knew his brain was a cut above the rest, but I didn't think they meant literally. And somebody else was like, one of the revolutionaries, like, oh God, what's he done now?
He's like that uncle that turns up to the party, like kind of just you don't know what he's gonna do next.
Mhm.
People are slightly
Mhm.
embarrassed by him. Yeah.
Uncle Kuso, they call him.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow.
On that note, we'll outro our guest first. M4rth, would you like to plug your video and your channel and your moves and what you got going on?
Yeah, sure. As mentioned many times already, I recently released the Mega Theory, which is like 1 hour 20 long, and it touches many topics and tries to connect them and solve the One Piece in itself. But with that aside, I still also plan on bringing a new stream format on my channel. It's gonna be somewhere sometime this month, and the first guest will be Dark Sake and Kev, DOG, and also what else? Yeah, I'm just making another video on the Baron of Münchhausen, which I mentioned in my mega theory. Like, if you don't know what it is, like it's an old tale about a dude from Germany that told lies. So I'll go in a bit more in depth in that and why Oda was influenced by that most likely. That's gonna be one of the next things. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button. Also subscribe to the last arc. To then to everyone who's here. Everyone but Kuso though. And
Hey?
yeah, that was that will
What?
work. Subscribe to Kuso too.
So for everyone, I'll say
Thanks for having
this.
me.
Check out Mars video because even though let's say you don't agree with the theory, I'll say this. I just love the storytelling, and I think just for that, it's like you should watch it.
Yeah,
It's really good. People say 1 hour, but actually, it's done in a ways that it's like a mini movie. So it's actually really cool. You should check it
I
out.
agree. 100% agree.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, agree. Storytelling on par with Arthur.
Vision. I was gonna say with Vision, but
Yeah.
okay.
Links are in the description for it as well. Elson, what you got going on?
Yeah, man, just gonna continue to stay active within the Discord. It's been a pleasure finally getting on
It's a pleasure to
one
have
of
you.
these streams. Yeah, finally found some time. But yeah, I just generally plug stuff on Twitter here and there for the time being. Just so I've got something out in the world outside of the Discord community that anyone can sort of view if they want to. It's not for everyone, but yeah, uh, I'm just happy to be a part of the game, so to speak.
You probably got more credits in videos than anyone in the last arc in terms of like in every one of my videos you're pretty much credited, and yeah, I know a lot of other people's. So Kuso, tell the people what you're up to.
Honestly, not much. I am. Okay, first of all, I do appreciate. No, honestly, I feel like such a fraud in here. I do appreciate that I was in a lovely stream with a fellow Kiwi, so gotta represent A. Elson,
Yeah,
fellow Kiwi.
always, man, always.
Yeah, for sure. I know. You know what? I'm actually just gonna plug Mask's new video because I did do a theory video like a couple months ago now, but like I've been pretty low key for a while, and if you haven't checked out Tainted Mask's new video, I really think you should, because honestly, even just the editing itself is probably better than about 80% of all the other videos that are out there. Like he's really put his heart into it. So just for that, I think he just deserves way more subs. So definitely head over there. And thank you so much for TLA for having us on board. It's been amazing. It's been really
It's a
cool
pleasure
guys.
Kuso, every time.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, so thank you.
Kube, would you like to say some sweet poetry to the people?
Honestly, it was a great stream. Honestly, with great people. It was. I love whatever it gave me so much interesting ideas. And yeah, and as always, I'm gonna plug someone. Keep an eye out on our captain, Strahad Lucas. He's been cooking, and pretty soon you will see a masterpiece that he will be unveiling to the world.
Can't
What
wait.
did I use the
On
word
Monday.
unveil it? Yep, on Monday, guys. So keep it. I want to keep the day a secret, but let's say okay on Monday, guys, and just keep an eye out. Stalk the YouTube news feed, and you'll
Yeah,
see it,
yeah.
and you just click on it, and you will be happy. You'll say thank you, Uncle Q. So yeah,
Thank you, Uncle
that's
Q.
Cube.
And yeah, huge shout outs to Vex for the edit
Yeah,
behind that. This is
yeah.
definitely something special. So excited for that too. Fritz, tell the people how to make the Marines great again.
By not voting for Cuba the Red Sea for Grand Fleet Admiral. That's a start.
Oh,
because
Who should they vote for?
I think Freddy D Diz would be a grand selection. All right, he's
Okay.
done it all. He's been everywhere. He's ready to pick up after these fallen, terrible government leaders that just keep fumbling the ball left and right. Completely incapable of regular speech. You know, just man, it's bad.
Yeah.
But no,
Up in the airwaves 3
I've
for
got some
people.
fun videos. I've got a character breakdown that I've been planning to do for Basil Hawkins, and mainly to focus on him because it goes along with another video I have. More of like the darker realm of these theories and these breakdowns of these characters that are existing in One Piece and kind of relevant to what we've been talking about at the beginning of this stream. So.
Yeah, you can find Fritz links in description for TikTok and whatnot. And other than that, we've been TLA with some special guests. It's been amazing as always, guys. Thank you for coming. We're big fans of the more chilled like theory cooking streams, and it's good to have some goats in here that like really, they've got their own ideas and they're not afraid to share them. So thank you as always for coming. I have been M4rth, and you guys have been Tainted Audience, and yeah, thank you very much. If you've got anything to say, now's the time. Well, Fritz tries to turn off the stream. So yeah, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace, peace.
Thank you.
Boom.